Well, there seems to be a growing appetite for shows and films about the world of finance. For more, let's bring in Wilson Morales. Wilson is editor-in-chief at blackfilm.com. Welcome to the show.
Hi, nice to be on.
So as we saw there, Abacus, too small to jail. This small story about this very small bank in the wake of this huge financial crisis. Are you surprised that it did so well and was so well received by Hollywood?
No, actually, I'm not surprised. You know, lately in the last few years, we've seen a lot more films focusing about the money. You know, you go back to the 2010 financial crisis, and you had Enron win the Oscar in 2010. Not Enron, actually, Inside Job. Then you had Enron, the smartest guy in the room. Then you've had The Big Short, which got nominated for Best Picture last year. So when you start seeing a trend, not only in film, but what's also happening in real life, there's a fascination with money.
So given this long history that we've seen about these films to do with money and industries and Wall Street, why do you think we're seeing a growth in this genre now?
I think when you look at the success of The Big Short, it's a movie that cost under $30 million to make, but made over $100 million. That tells you that an audience wants to see this sort of format, you know. And every time you get a movie that does very well, you know, you're going to get variations of that sort of genre. So, you know, I think you go back to Moneyball, which got nominated, starred Brad Pitt. Even on TV, you've had, because of the Bernie Madoff scandal, you've had not one but two movies. One on ABC that starred Richard Dreyfuss, and the other one that starred Robert De Niro that got nominated for an Emmy.
Now, it can be quite tough. Sometimes you have these other huge blockbuster films with all these special effects. So when it comes to financial films, how do they tend to do in theaters? And is there enough return on investment, say, versus other genres?
Yes, there is, if the budget is small, but at the same time, it also goes with the marketing. When you look at The Big Short, you know, you have names like Steve Carell and Brad Pitt, and you have a major studio like Paramount Pictures, and you tell a story that the common audience can understand. Sometimes you can get lost in the business and Wall Street jargon, but the way The Big Short played out, it gave you a sense of how the business is run. And in fact, in order to see Abacus, the small documentary that got nominated, in a way, you probably should see The Big Short to get a better understanding as far as the terminology of what's being talked about in both films.
And we're certainly seeing a lot of these stories and these themes being fleshed out on the big and the small screen. We have Netflix's Dirty Money getting a lot of great reviews. Is this a trend that you expect to continue?
Yes, not only do you have that, but FX has a show called Trust, which is based on John Paul Getty, I believe.
So is this something that you expect to see continue? Can you expect to see perhaps Amazon and Hulu and others really take an interest in this, especially given the political climate where people are a lot more interested in political finance?
Yes, I think if either whether the film or the show does successfully, expect to see Amazon, Hulu, a number of these streaming networks carry on the same tradition and picking up a show that has to do with money, and then you center it whether it's talent or the story.
Now let's look at what happens afterwards. When you have some of these financial scandals or industries highlighted in a very prominent stage like film or television, do we tend to see that translate into any action by the parties involved off the screen?
Yes, when you look at Abacus, you know, documentaries don't tend to do so well because they get played on Netflix. And if you have Netflix, you can watch it for free. But a film like The Big Short, as I mentioned earlier, did well after the fact. Even though it didn't win Best Picture, it did win Best Screenplay. And if you didn't know about the film then, you went to go see it afterwards. And those films tend to live on so long as you have situations that's happening around the country with money. People are going to tend to gravitate, like, what's a good money film to go see? You've had films like Margin Call. You've had Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street. When you have big names actors like Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt in the film, you know, those are the marketing aspects to help you go see the movie.
All right. Thank you so much. Wilson Morales there from blackfilm.com.